Well, hello, Beachside people. Wanted to take a minute to share a few things with you about Beachside and what's going on right now. And I know there are some things that you probably don't have an opportunity to see as I do, some things that are taking place at Beachside. So I just want to share a few thoughts with you about where we are and where we're headed. So one of the most exciting things that's happening right now, as we moved to Choctaw High School in August, we had back in the spring at the Boys and Girls Club been averaging about 170 total people, children through adults, on a Sunday. When we moved to Choctaw in August, we averaged in August about 224 people in attendance, which was just a significant numerical increase. In September, that went up to about 230. And then over the past 2 weeks, we averaged about 260 and then 274 people respectively over the past two Sundays. So numerically, that's just an incredible increase, and that's significant not because we're trying to see how big of a church that we can create, but because each one of those people represents somebody who is trying to connect with God in some way and is finding a place at Beachside to be able to do that. And so that's just awesome to see, and it's awesome to see that the work that you put into doing what you do each week is really paying off and doing great things. If we were still at the Boys and Girls Club this past Sunday, we had so many adults in adult worship that we would have just about filled up our adult worship environment at the Boys and Girls Club twice. If we would have been having two services there, it would have been a full room for both services. So sometimes it's hard to put in perspective where we are because we've moved into such a large room, but it really is neat to see what's happening and what God's doing through that. But maybe even more importantly, not just our attendance on Sundays, but about a month ago when we had our last group link, we connected over 70 new people into groups at Group Link. We had about 75 people in groups before that, so we almost doubled the number of people that we have in community groups at this one group link. And so that's awesome because we've really said that that's our goal. It's not to see how many people we can get on Sunday mornings, but to see people move into community groups, because we really believe that sustained life change happens best in the context of community. Not when we're sitting in rows on Sundays, but when we sit in circles in people's homes. That's where we grow spiritually. And so to see people moving into those groups is just an incredible thing. It's incredible, an incredible measurement for our success to see how we're doing in leading people into a growing relationship with Jesus Christ. This past week, I also had a friend of mine show up for the very first time. And it's a guy that we have been inviting and talking to for quite a while about coming to Beachside. And he's a believer, but he's been unchurched for the past 4 or 5 years. And he finally showed up for the first time this past week. And he brought his girlfriend with him. And the way he introduced me to his girlfriend was, "Sean, this is my girlfriend, and she's never been to a church before." And that was just so cool to see him there and to see him bring in a completely unchurched person with him was just very neat. And then at the end of the service, they both came up and talked about how much they enjoyed it, how they really didn't expect what they had experienced, and how they couldn't wait to be back the next week. So what you're doing every week, your sacrificial giving financially by getting up early and serving and being a part of the road crew and serving in the environments that you're creating each week is paying off, and it really is doing neat things. And it's just incredible to see how God is using that and how he's using you to create a church in this community where we can invite our unchurched friends and where they will just love to attend. But I also want to say to you that we can't let our guard down now. There are a few things that we can do on our volunteer teams to help us continue to be successful as we move forward into the next stage of what we're doing. The first is on the weeks that you're assigned to work, we just need you to be present. When everyone is there, we can do what we do better, and we can have a lot more fun doing it because we're not stressed out. And so if it's your week to work, please be there and be able to do what you do. If you can't be there, we just ask that you find a replacement. If you could trade a week with someone who's on the other team, if you're on team 13, if you could find someone on team 24 that you can trade with for that week, and then let your team leader know that you've done that, that just helps us be able to have everyone in place so that we are able to do what we do. We need you to be on time. We don't have a lot of margin built into our Sunday morning schedule. We don't want to ask people to get there too early. And so if everyone gets there on time, then we can get started and we can get done in the amount of time that we have available. We need you to stay until all the equipment is loaded on the trailer. And that's not just so that you can stand around at the end and watch people finish up the work, but when everyone stays until everything's loaded and everyone pitches in to help make that happen, then we all get out of there in a reasonable amount of time. But when people start trickling off slowly throughout the morning, then what happens, we have 2 or 3 people that are left doing the last of the work, and it takes them a significant amount of time to get finished. and it becomes very frustrating. So if we can all stay there and help the other teams, if our team finishes, then we can jump on another team and help them be able to get their stuff loaded and done so that everyone can get out of there and get on to lunch or get home and enjoy the rest of their Sunday afternoon. And we need you to be careful. We are blessed with some incredible equipment, and it's all been purchased with your tithes and your offerings. We are 100% supported financially by our local attenders, and so everything that we have comes from you. And so we just want to take care of what we have and be good stewards of the resources that God's given us. And then the final thing is that we just want to make sure that we're working together as a team. When we work together and support each other, we can do what we do more effectively, more efficiently, and we can just have a whole lot more fun in the way that we do it. And so thanks again. I just want to tell you that God is using you to do incredible things. It's awesome to see how far we've come in a year's time, and I can't wait to see what comes next. I can't believe that we're where we are, and I'm amazed by what God's doing. I'm amazed by you. I know that your sacrificial giving financially, that the way that you serve sacrificially by getting up early and staying late on Sundays, by the way that you're investing and inviting your friends to come and be a part of what we're doing, and just all those things that you're making happen. It's paying off, and it is so significant. One last word, in the very near future, our goal with road crew teams, we know that we have 2 teams right now, and that's not where we hope to stay forever. We started with 1 team that was setting up and taking down each week, and every week every one of us had to be there to make that happen. We've added enough people that we have been able to go to 2 teams, and we hope that in the near future we can continue to add more people so that we can go to 4 teams, and that road crew would become a once-a-month commitment. And then eventually maybe that even becomes 8 teams. We just don't know what's in store, but we know that we're not stopping where we are. We're going to continue to build those teams and add more people and move forward with that. So we want to ask you to encourage those people that you have relationships with at Beachside to get involved on a strategic service team. Not only does it help us do what we do, but that really is the best living room environment that we have. When people get connected on a strategic service team, it's where they build relationships, where they get to know other people and begin to really feel connected to what we're doing and take ownership in the church and in what we're making happen. And so we want to encourage that to happen. We want to encourage you to get your friends involved, join a team, and then believe that that would really even be the step that would help them eventually be able to move into a community group, because it's just easier to go into someone's home as a part of a community group when you already have relationships with those people. And the best way to build those relationships is by serving alongside them every Sunday. So just like the mission trip that I was on last week, that it was a lot of hard work and it required a lot of commitment, but it was a lot of fun and it paid off. We know that when you leave on Sundays that you're tired, but we also know that it's paying off and that God's using it to do great things. So from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you for what you're doing, and I appreciate you so much, and I can't wait to see what God has in store this next year.